This is the tale of Leonis, a Spartan warrior feared by enemies and respected by his brothers. But before he conquered the battlefield, he faced a far more dangerous enemy, the voice inside his own mind. Dawn had not yet touched the mountains of Sparta. The battlefield was silent. Thousands of shields rested against the earth, spears planted like a forest of iron. And among them stood one warrior, still unmoving. His armor reflected the faint light of dying stars. To every man around him, he looked like the perfect Spartan, strong, silent, unbreakable. But inside his mind, a storm was raging. His name was Leonis, and in that moment before battle, the warrior that Sparta believed was fearless was fighting a battle no one else could see, a battle against himself. Because the truth is, Leonis did not fear the enemy across the field. He feared something far worse. He feared that he was not the warrior Sparta believed him to be. And what happened next would determine whether he would break or become something far greater. From the age of 7, Leonis belonged to Sparta. Like every Spartan boy, he was taken from his home and thrown into brutal training known as the agoj. Cold nights, endless drills, hunger that clawed at the stomach, pain that carved discipline into the bones. In Sparta, weakness was not tolerated. Tears were not tolerated. Fear was not tolerated. The instructors repeated the same words again and again. A Spartan does not break. A Spartan does not doubt. A Spartan does not fear. Leonis repeated those words like every other boy, but deep inside, something felt different. Because while the others moved with confidence, Leonis often questioned himself, and doubt quietly began to grow. The moment Leonis first felt real doubt came during a training duel. Two boys stood inside a circle of watching Spartans, wooden swords in hand, Leonis and another trainee named Doros. Doros was strong, fast, confident. The duel began. Wood struck wood. Feet scraped the dust. For a moment, Leonis believed he might win. Then, one mistake. One hesitation. Doros knocked his sword away and slammed him to the ground. The watching boys laughed. The instructor spoke only one word. Again. Leonis stood. They fought again. He lost. And again. He lost. By the fifth defeat, a voice began whispering inside his mind. Maybe you are not meant for this. Years passed. Leonis grew stronger. His shoulders widened. His sword arm became steady. To an outside eye, he had become a perfect Spartan warrior. But the voice inside him never disappeared. When another warrior lifted heavier shields, the voice said, "He is stronger than you." When someone fought better in training, the voice said, "They are better than you." When commanders chose others for missions, the voice said, "They know you are not good enough." The battlefield had not yet arrived, but Leonis was already fighting a war inside his own mind. And that war was exhausting. Then came the day Sparta prepared for real battle. Messengers arrived. Enemies had been spotted beyond the valley. The Spartan army assembled. Shields polished, spears sharpened, war chants echoed through the city. For most warriors, it was a moment of excitement. But for Leonis, the voice returned stronger than ever. What if you fail? What if you freeze? What if you are the reason another Spartan dies? That night, while the others slept beside their shields, Leonis sat alone under the silent sky. For the first time, he wondered if he belonged here at all. Morning arrived. Mist covered the valley. Spartan warriors formed their phalanx, shields locked, spears ready. Leonis stood among them, but his heart pounded. His breathing grew heavy. The voice screamed in his mind, "You are not ready. You will fail." His eyes fell to the shield in his hand. Heavy, solid. A Spartan shield was honor. No Spartan ever abandoned it. But in that moment, Leonis considered dropping it, walking away, because the weight of doubt felt heavier than iron. As Leonis stood frozen, an older Spartan stepped beside him, a veteran named Theron. His armor carried the scars of many battles. Theron looked at Leonis calmly and said, "Your mind is loud today." Leonis froze and answered, "How do you know?" Theron smiled slightly and said, "Because every warrior hears that voice." Leonis whispered, "But Spartans do not doubt." Theron shook his head and answered, "That is the lie boys are told." Then he said the words Leonis would never forget. Courage is not the absence of doubt. It is walking forward while doubt screams in your ears. Those words struck Leonis like lightning. All his life he believed warriors were fearless, but the truth was different. Even the strongest warriors feel doubt. The difference is they do not obey it. Leonis slowly lifted his shield. The weight no longer felt unbearable because he understood something powerful. Doubt is not weakness. It means the moment matters, and true warriors move forward anyway. The horns of battle echoed across the valley. Spartan shields locked together. The legendary wall of bronze formed. Leonis stood among them. The voice of doubt was still there, but now it no longer controlled him. His breathing slowed. His mind became calm. The enemy army advanced, thousands of footsteps shaking the earth. But Leonis did not panic. He simply focused on the next breath, the next step, the next movement. Then the moment arrived. The distance between the armies vanished, and the valley exploded into war. Shields crashed like thunder. Spears shattered against bronze. Dust filled the air. For a moment, chaos surrounded Leonis. But this time, the voice of doubt did not control him. It whispered faintly, but Leonis stepped forward anyway. Step, strike, hold the line. Again, step, strike, hold the line. An enemy rushed toward him. Leonis raised his shield. His spear struck forward. The enemy fell. Not because Leonis was fearless, but because he had become disciplined beyond fear. The Spartan line surged forward like a wall of bronze, and in the rising sunlight, Leonis stood unshaken. The warrior who once doubted himself, now marching at the front. The battle was over, but the greatest victory was never the one fought on the battlefield. It was the one fought within. Leonis stood among warriors, not as the strongest, not as the most fearless, but as the one who refused to surrender to his own doubt. The voice that once tried to break him now stood silent, not because it was gone, but because it had been conquered. He did not become fearless, he became unshakable. And as the sun rose over the battlefield, a new warrior stood in its light. Not the man who once questioned his worth, but the man who proved it with every step forward. Remember this: victory is not reserved for the fearless. It belongs to those who rise, even when their mind tells them to fall. For my viewers, here is the truth history rarely tells. Even the strongest warriors feel doubt. The heroes you admire, the leaders you respect, the people who appear fearless, they all hear the same voice you hear, the voice that whispers, "You are not good enough. You will fail." But the difference between those who succeed and those who surrender is simple. They move forward anyway. Because the most important battle of your life will never be fought on a battlefield. It will be fought inside your mind. Remember this: a warrior is not the man who never doubts. He is the man who marches forward anyway. So when doubt whispers tomorrow, do not wait for it to disappear. Pick up your shield, take one step forward, and march anyway.